All right, what's up, everybody? What's up? What's up, guys? Just a casual hanging out session. Um, Free to come and go as you please. Um, yeah, that's it. Nothing special. Just on a Sunday. Hope everyone's having a good Sunday. Nothing too crazy. Traveling dude. Hold on. Your question's going to be populated here soon on my screen just so I can read it fully. Okay. What's happening? It's Martin from MD. Martin from Maryland. How's your weekend been going, buddy? Sunday is here again. Nice to hang out with you again. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Soul Shader Crypto. What's up, man? Mr. Savage. What rank do you have to become before you can live in the barracks? You can live in the barracks as the E1, and that's fine. The only thing that's a little bit different is like me, if you want to live out in town, um, depending on which branch, but at least for the Navy, if you are E4 over 4 years, or if you're E5, you can live out in town, and they give you money for your housing. So, for example, right now I'm getting about like 1570 each month just on like my housing money. And obviously I'm renting a room here for about like $700. So, I'm being able to pocket the rest. If you want though, like you can still as a E5 and above, still live in the barracks if you so choose to. But the only catch to that is they take all your BAHOA, your housing money. Um, like I'm going to be moving this week into a government housing, and so they're going to be taking all of my housing money away plus some a little bit more. So that's gonna suck a little bit, but I'm gonna be able to live just a little bit more like in a luxury a little bit. Um, so I mean, in that sense, it's worth it to me. So all right. Let's see. Are you going to back? Are you going to? Are you going back to visit South Korea, Brazil, or anywhere over the next 12 months, even with still COVID going on? So why have you decided not to reenlist in the Navy in 2023? Um, I'm not gonna go anywhere over the next 12 months. I mean, there is a chance that I might go to Brazil for like New Year's to spend with my girlfriend, but I don't think I will. Um, yeah, I mean, the Navy is a great stepping stone, right? Like, a lot of people say it as a stepping stone. Um, and for me, it was, right? Like, I literally came in, did my thing, got the level of success that I wanted. And then it's time for me to move on to scale other aspects of my life, right? In regards to like more business. Um, my YouTube channel, I'm going to be scaling up here pretty soon. Um, Starting July is really when I'm going to get after it. Um, because before then, I was like far from YouTube for a while. But now I understand. I've recently taken a course, $3,000 coaching program course on how to develop my YouTube channel a lot better. So it's time to start implementing what I've learned. And yeah, I mean, I only have so much time within the day, right? Like the Navy takes up like 40, 50 hours a week right now at a shore command. My sales business that I'm running is taking up another 40 hours, 50 hours a week. And everything else that I'm doing, like my own self education, is taking up like 20 hours a week. So, one of them has to go. And for me, it's going to be the Navy. So I can, start doing this and, some other side projects full time. Because that's really, at the end of the day, what I'm more passionate about. And yeah, guys, welcome. It's a Sunday hangout session. Whether you guys are just chilling or like me, you're just working um, while you're on this live, thanks for stopping by. And that's really what I'm doing right now. I'm just working, specifically email marketing is what I'm doing right now. And I think I'm gonna try to have a lot more of these, just like a casual, either a Saturday or Sunday hangout sessions, um, just to build a bit more rapport with the community that we have. And so, if you guys have any feedback in terms of what type of content you would like to see me make, it would be tremendously beneficial to me. I would very appreciate it because I gotta start planning ahead further out in the future as to like what my content pipeline is gonna look like. Because like I said, I am going to take this a lot more serious, and the goal is if I can get to 100K subscribers, our community growing by the end of the year would be great. I don't think that's going to happen because I don't have the level of momentum that I need to have. but definitely by the end of next year, for sure. Family issues once I joined the military. So I joined the military, I can really focus on it like how I want to on free time. See, even that, it's a little bit difficult because if you're in a barracks facility, like you're going to be sharing a room with like multiple other people. Like some of my older videos was shot in a barracks facility. If you go back like a couple of years back, and oftentimes you'll see me in a stairwell shooting like a point and shoot at myself because that was the most common place where nobody was really around. Because everybody else, everywhere else, right? There's always people, like, whether it's the gymnasium, whether it's the hallways, or whether it's the room and you're sleeping with other roommates. So some of the videos that you see me made back then was always in a staircase and just kind of by myself. What kind of sales business do you have? What do you sell? Like, I like how you had investment success and would like to invest more myself. Any investment videos on how to invest uh, on the way anytime soon? Theo, what do you mean by school? Like college or a school? So I am a freelance. I guess you could say I'm a freelance salesman, right? You can hire me if you have a business. You can hire me, and if you have like an email list of let's say 10,000 people, I'm going to email and contact or call or text all those 10,000 people to buy your product. So right now, I'm working with a gentleman named Jeremy from Financial Education, helping his team with their sales. And it's been a great privilege to work in that community, work with that team. I don't know if you know Jeremy from Financial Education. Let me pull up a video here real quick. Financial Education. Yeah, so that's his channel. If you want to start learning how to invest, I would highly recommend it. You go into his community, you just start watching a lot of his content because I agree with how Jeremy invests, and the opportunity came to be a part of his team, and I took advantage of that, and I've been pretty grateful that everything's worked out for me so far, and I learned a lot from that high level community. Any investment videos on how to invest on the way anytime soon? It's something that I've debated, like making it an investment video, because here's the thing, right? Whenever like honestly, I'm not too sure. I'm thinking about making a course and selling what I know, or on the other hand, right, putting it out for free. But even then, like when I put out something for free, even though it was like super beneficial, most people don't take it serious because and it's just how like human beings are, in my opinion. Like when people get something for free, they just don't take it serious, just like YouTube. So it's something I'll probably make as like a course format. I'll brush up on it for sure in like future contents, but more in depth is probably going to be in a course format later down the road. Sup, been watching your videos here. Can you touch it? College in the military? How much have you done? Theo, literally, I've only taken like one class that was offered within the ship that I was in, within the aircraft carrier, because one of the supply officers had, I guess, credentialing to give like algebra, you know, within the ship. Um, if you're thinking, right, like, hey, if I join the military, within the first 4 years, can I get like my degree or my associates? And the answer is no. It's really, really not realistic. If you think you can, it's going to be extremely hard. Because the way that kind of looks is, let's say you want to go in for college, right? Within your 4 years, you want to get your associates. Basically, in the Navy, at least how it's structured, you have to wait 2 years before you can start taking classes. That's kind of how the current structure is. So within a 4 year contract, 2 years is already gone. The reason why they do that is because they want you to focus on the job, right? They want you to focus on, the Navy job before your college type of extra credit type of activity. And they don't want you to be steered away from it because, once you start taking classes, you're going to make a lot of excuses as to why you need to go home early, tests coming up. So they just didn't want to deal with that. And so that's going to be an obstacle. And even if you somehow get to start taking college classes, they're only going to allow 1 and 2 at max. So let's say after those 2 years, you can start taking college classes. They're going to have you start slow, right? Whether it's one course or two, and that's going to be okay. And if you get like anything like a D and below, you have to pay out of pocket because you have to get at least a C and above for the grades. And remember, like, depending on where you go, you're going to work at a minimum 40 hours. On average, I would say like 50 hours a week. If you're on a ship, obviously you're going to be working like 60, 70 hours a week. Um, so even that, like, the work-life balance is a little bit off. And the only other way you can actually start taking college classes is probably pay out of your own pocket, like tuition assistance and stuff. Um, that is something that's possible. You could definitely do that, without the military really knowing. But like I said, it's pretty difficult. My YouTube friends, I just got the knowledge for free though. Most people are just lazy. Yep. Learn a lot of stuff from my YouTube friends. I got the knowledge for free though. I think the investment course idea is a good idea. Maybe a paid course and a free version too. Is it free to get started in the sales job you have? Can it be part-time? Any link to it? Um, this is one of those, like, you have to know somebody. It's like a network type of thing. Um, I mean, it's always free to get into that kind of job. Like, you can literally get this type of job anywhere. It's available online everywhere. People are always looking for like sales, work from home type of sales associates. So it's available anywhere. Like, for example, if you've ever watched like The Wolf of Wall Street, the Wolf of Wall Street, you might think it's like a stock market type thing, but it's not. It's a sales movie. Jordan Belfort is an actual guy, and he's all about sales, right? Persuasion and strategy, and how to talk to people on the phone. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, Jordan Belfort's content, The Wolf of Wall Street on YouTube, you could probably start watching his if you want to start kind of getting into that mentality, um, and figure out, like, how you can get employed and stuff. So yeah, and definitely it can be a part-time job, right? So for me, uh, obviously I work off commission, so Um, it all depends on how much work I want to put into it. Email. Paint. Cold. Welcome in, guys. It's Sunday. It's just a chill hangout session. You can ask questions or just chill. You can work as you are hanging out with me here as well. Ever done any in-app gig jobs such as Uber, Lyft, Amazon Flex? What do you think about the app gig economy as far as creating a part-time income? Um, so you can definitely do that, right, Martin? But at the end of the day, like, here's the thing. Um, it all falls down to like trading your time for money, right? When you trade time for money, it's hard to scale that into like 20K, 30K, 40K, 50K, 100K, 150K, 200K type of income business. Um, so like for you, right? I mean, in the beginning, for you to get as much money as possible, you can definitely hustle, with Uber Lyft, Amazon, etc. But it's not something that's scalable down the road. It's not like a skill that you can build up. There's like a certain cap to it very early on. Um, so in the beginning, if you need money, like if you're just surviving like paycheck to paycheck, or you don't really know what to do with your time and you have a lot of free time and you want to make some money, right? You can definitely do that. But remember, like I said, it's not something that you can scale later on, right? So for example, like for me with sales, what makes sense to me is sell like high level products, right? Something that costs, thousands to $10,000 to $20,000, because that's the best bang for my buck within my time. And obviously for me to be able to do that, like my skill level has to be there. And if I can, get like an $8,000 deal in an hour, then great. I have a pretty good commission then. But in an hour, right, if I do Uber or Lyft, maybe I'll make like a couple $100. And at the end of the day, it's not, like I said, it's not something that you can properly scale. So it's always got to be, for you to be able to scale your income, you got to scale your level of skill. Um, and those type of app gig economy is great, but like I said, um, it's not something that you can continue doing forever. I'm 2 years into the Air Force. Wanted to knock out a bachelor's while serving, but haven't executed. Wanted to hear your experience and insights on it. Thanks. Of course. Like I said, it's super difficult to um, like actually get schooling done while you're in the military. There's a lot of friction. It's very, like, if you can, going in fresh, within like 4 years, 5 years, if you can walk away with an associate's, like, you've done an absolutely amazing job that 99% of the people don't get to do while they're in the military. Some people, it takes like 20 years for them to like go through the schooling process within the military to get their degree. So yeah. My business friend told me this too. Sales is how people become millionaires because there is no ceiling. My business friend did sales when he was young. Yeah. Um, because like in a week, let's say you work 100 hours, if Uber or Lyft, right? I mean, you could probably get like a pretty decent set pay, but the range is gonna vary anywhere from like $1,000 to maybe like $2,000 or $3,000, right? And that's it when it comes to like Uber, Lyft. Amazon could be something that's scalable depending on like if you actually sell products. But if you're like an Amazon like a delivery driver, like your pay is going to be pretty much set, right? But when it comes to sales or any skill that you can kind of market, whether it's investing, whether it's selling products, or maybe freelancing for, whether it's like digital art or, whatever the case may be, you can always like go for the masses and cost pretty cheap, but you can always upgrade and go for that very expensive service, product or service, and go for that higher tier clients, which should get you a pretty good amount of money as well. What tip would you give someone that's new to barracks and wants to earn more? Stalin. Um, so you're in the military and you're in the barracks, is what I'm understanding. Okay. Um, cold. Why do you want to earn more income while you're in the barracks? Once heard the people who know how to talk and the people who can count, STEM will rule over those who don't. What is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics? Is that what that STEM is? Because I have free time and I want to achieve financial freedom. Um, Stalin, Stalin, the thing is, right, in the beginning, most people think they have an income problem, um, but they actually don't, right? They most likely have a knowledge problem. Um, so what do I mean by that? If you want to make more money, right? There's opportunities everywhere that you look. Like as long as you have internet and your phone or a laptop, like you can make money online and you're good, right? There's hundreds of places you could go. Usually, the reason why you're not able to do it is because you don't have the knowledge base, right? Whether it's investing, sales, making businesses, whatever the case may be. So in the very beginning, right, you have to focus on building your knowledge level, right? So, I highly recommend you start Googling, YouTubing, like business articles, like how to grow a business, how to do this, how to do that. That's personally what I did, right? When I was living in the barracks, enrolling into different courses to understand like how to think, personal development, growing businesses. Because it's like that. It's like this, right? Let's say, for example, in the stock market, because that's what I have some level of familiarity with. Let's say for the stock market, people have a mentality of the stock market like they do with like Las Vegas, right? They think they can just go to Las Vegas, um, put some money, go to a casino, put some money in, and they're gonna walk away with millions of dollars, right? Just like the stock market, people think they're just going to come in, create an account, put a lot of money into a couple companies, and they're going to walk away with millions of dollars. And that's absolutely not the case, right? Like if you don't know anything about gambling, poker, 21, casinos or anything like that, like you're going to lose money, pretty quickly or in the short term. just like the stock market, right? Like if you don't know what you're doing, like you're gonna lose money. So it doesn't matter like how much more money you have. Um, you could have $1 million put it into the stock market and you could lose it, right? At the same time, like in the casino, you could have $1 million go to the casino and you could lose it. So I would highly encourage in the beginning. It's all about like understanding like how to build businesses. Understanding like crypto. Um, like for me, it took me like a year and a half to fully understand like the opportunity with crypto. In particularly, I'm very bullish on a cryptocurrency called Chainlink token, the Oracle. Um, it took me like a year and a half to like fully understand the opportunity. At the same time with Bitcoin, what the opportunity with that is. Um, so yeah, and then the money comes in later on, right? Like for example, like so, Solid. I think about this. Like for me, like for the first 5 years, I was building up knowledge and being a practitioner in the stock market, and then now on my 6th year in my military career, I'm trying to scale my income to funnel more money into the stock market, into the my crypto wallet, because I have a complete understanding of what I'm doing with my investing, right? So all I have to do is just funnel as much money as possible, um, because I found a system that works for me. So you don't want it to be the other way around. Like you don't want to funnel money into something where you don't really know what you're doing, because you're just going to lose that money. So, and that's what's going to create like lost time, wasted time. This is a similar quote. The society that separates its scholars from its warriors will have its thinking done by cowards and fighting by fools. I can charge people money to teach them about the stock market and crypto, for sure. Like for example, like with crypto, like people, like I didn't really know this until later on, um, but like in the stock market, there's different industries, right? Like tech, consumer discrepancy, consumer packaging, etc. In the crypto, it's the same thing, right? There is the asset, there's the Oracle, there's the smart contract tokens. It's like meme tokens. There's a bunch of different tokens, or cryptocurrencies, right? Classes of cryptocurrencies. And I didn't know that until a couple months ago, and that was something mind blowing, right? Where people just think it's all the same thing. Like there's no distinction between like Dogecoin, between token link chain link versus like Bitcoin. Like no, these are completely different things within the crypto space. I'm into Vu and I'm looking into Disney Facebook. Any advice about anybody being about 2.5 years from retirement in a stable job with good benefits, that they are unhappy in, but would get a future pension into? Would you say stay or leave? If there's no, in my opinion, if I was in that spot, 2.5 years away from retirement or whatever, if there's no better alternative, like I'm just gonna stay. Because like at the end of the day, like the way I look at it, like you can still work like 100-hour a week and still be perfect. Because like in the Navy, like at least where I am in the shore command, it's like 40, 50 hours a week that I work. I mean, the other 50 hours to 60, 70 hours a week, I still work on my business and creating my YouTube stuff. um, People can work 100 hours a week. People can do both. It's just the matter of like how committed they are to actually making that happen. um, so they can still stay in that job for 2.5 years and still pursue something else full time, but at the same time realize you're making a sacrifice somewhere else, whether it's family, health, happiness, whatever the case may be. Like what I personally believe, um, is like you have to have a job until you can get to the point where you have like multi-millions of dollars to be able to retire. Like people think like, oh, when I get to like 100K in the stock market, I can quit my job and do this full time. No, that's absolutely not the case. Like you have to continue to work to fuel more money in until you can get to a point where it's like $1 million or $10 million, and then you can, okay, quit your job and do this full time. Because people want to do it too early, and that's the mistake in my opinion. When you do it too early, then you're just kind of in a stuck in a position because you've never built anything that's proven to actually work, right? Like for example, if I was to quit my job in the Navy right now, like I'm going to be in a lot of trouble because my sales income, my YouTube income, it's not stable, right? Like back in February, I made 16 grand that month, but March and April, I only made 6 grand in total with my Navy pay as well included. So there's always a fluctuation, and so just because I made like over 10 grand 1 month doesn't mean like, okay, I'm gonna quit. It just means like I gotta do this consistently until I can make it a consistent business. Um, and yeah, you never want to cut anything off prematurely, because that's what kills the momentum. When it comes to crypto, I'm only bullish on two cryptos besides Bitcoin, and they are Ethereum and Monero. I've been building up my knowledge on drawing, and now I can charge people for the service at my price, which is why I continue to learn. Exactly. Yeah. There's a part of me that in the future I might, um, if I want to like, I could go into like consulting in the future. There's a part of me that has that kind of mind where, um, for like an hour or two, I'll probably charge somebody like $1,000 at a minimum, um, to be able to like sit down with me on a Zoom call and teach them like what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong with their investments. So there's a part of me that um, thinks that I might do that, but at the same time, number one, the first thing that I have to do is build a huge audience, which is my long-term kind of strategy with this whole YouTube stuff that I'm doing now. For cheap to have online business that's generating income. Yeah, I heard like a lot of people go to the what is it, Puerto Rico and all those type of places. Amen day. All right, Alex, Yoon, I'm at A school and haven't showed up to my duty section in 2 months. What should I do if I want to go now? Show up. Um, like duty section as in like duty section, or like duty section as in like your next command duty section. You might get some flack for it, but um yeah. I mean, Alex, you're in a weird position. I think I'm gonna go to the RV route. I don't want to waste money on high rent that could be invested into a business. So I thought about the RV route. Um, I know some people are doing that as well, but like that, from what I understand, some of the most uncomfortable thing is like obviously where are you going to get your water, your gray water, like whenever you waste, take away like your waste, you gotta have like a campsite, and they're gonna charge you money, or if you're gonna park somewhere like long-term parking wise, like they're gonna charge you money for that, or there isn't like a lot of like free places from like good places, free good places that you can just kind of park and just kind of relax. Um, I've heard that's always the that kind of discomfort. In 2021, especially with COVID still going on, do you think working 60 hours a week, grossing 60 to 70K a year is a good amount in the VA Maryland area? What income range would you say is middle class? $1 million, a millionaire is middle class. Um, but 60 to 70K, 60 hours a week, that is a bit too much though. If it was like 40 hours a week for 60 to 70K, because I mean, after that, after taxes, right? Let's say it's 70K best case scenario. Um, 70K taxes, let's say just 25%. Um, I mean, you're only left with 52K. Um, if you spend like $2,000 a month, right, on food and rent, that's 24 minus 52, and then now you're just left with 28. Assuming like you don't pay any like car or anything like that, like monthly car expense, like 28K in a year. I mean, it's still okay, but for 60 hours a week though, that's a lot. If it was like 40 hours a week for 60 to 70K, I'd say it's a pretty good deal. But I mean, if there's no other opportunity, then by all means take it, and you can still work another 40 hours a week and build something on the side. Um, but yeah, has anyone heard of the news of Illinois going bankrupt because budget mismanagement and more? States aren't going to go bankrupt. I don't see that happening. I don't think that's going to happen. Hope everyone's having a pretty good Sunday. I am uh, pretty relaxed. would you give someone um if anybody could leave a comment regarding like what type of content do you know me for? Like what type of content, or like when you think about like Yoon's YouTube channel, like what's the topic that comes to your mind? Because I would like to know if you could leave that in the comment section, just so I can understand, how I'm coming off with my brand. To save money in housing as a civilian, what are your thoughts in renting a house, apartment, versus building apartment? I didn't realize people save half in rent that way. Martin, the way I've been saving for the last like 9 months, um, was for example, I get 1570 a month for my housing money, right? And I'm renting a room right here uh, for about $700 each month, including utilities. And then I slept on an air mattress for right about 9 months, um, just to save money. And then when I hit 200K, overall net worth, I decided to buy myself that mattress as like a little present for myself, um, to stop, to live a little bit more comfortably. Um, at the same time, like I literally have no space. Like if you want to see like my this is my mattress, right? This is my desk, and this is like space. Like I literally live in like 100 square foot, like a room, and like I'm still living as frugal as I did, back when I joined the military. Um, and so, yeah, if you want to save money for like housing as a civilian, like you can rent a room for $600, or like find somewhere cheap. Like you can find multiple places for cheap. Um, just don't be like entitled to like, oh, I deserve to live in a house. Like we don't people don't deserve to live in a house. It's a luxury. You have to actually earn to be able to, buy a house, pay it off, and live in it. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, like I would live like this like for if until $1 million, But obviously, my girlfriend's coming over from Brazil. She's going to live with me, and so I had to upgrade and get government housing. So, which they're taking all of my housing money away. Um, so yeah, but yeah, I mean, live frugal. Like live like I mean, you don't deserve anything at the end of the day, um, other than just being able to breathe, and just like having that kind of mentality is what I would recommend. Overseas, they have a cheap place that can be rented. There is one dude I know living in Africa for $400 a month in rent. Yeah, like if I could live like that, by all means, that's exactly how I would be living. I'd have millions of dollars in my bank, and yeah. In your opinion, what are scalable skills you think people should learn to earn more money? Um, the easiest thing that you could do is start a YouTube channel. Stolen. I mean, that's free, right? It's literally free, um, which teaches you like when you start making videos like this, um, teaches you to your ability to like speak, communicate, brand, market. Um, you know, like my YouTube channel is small at like 15,000 subscribers, but I've been able to leverage that in so many different situations, that put me ahead of like different competitors. That it's a skill that once you have a YouTube channel and you want to grow it as a business, and it is a business, right? YouTube channel is a business. It's, think about it like a TV show, right? Like for me right now, it's a TV show. I have an audience of 6 people, and I'm answering questions. And so to be able to captivate, 6 people or more, right, or grow a channel to 15,000 subscribers, you have to develop that skill over time to be able to communicate, entertain, educate, whatever the case may be. So start a YouTube channel, and that's going to be the most profitable skill I think that you can scale. Faceless Dragon, the Navy. I'm going into the Navy next month, and I like getting advice. What advice, man? When you teach us how to make money and save money. Yeah, Soul Shade, Savage. One of the things that makes the most sense to me to do in terms like um, content wise is I'm going to, I don't know if you're familiar with like Gary Vee, but he used to have this like daily V, which he used to have somebody like follow him around, make a like a vlog of him in a day. Um, and then he later turned it into a weekly V, where he shares his like week, and that's exactly what I'm going to do at the core of my content. Is how a Korean American 6-figure sailor is kind of living his life. So that's probably what I'll do, um, and just showing like what it actually takes to be a investor in the stock market, to work and grow a business and have a YouTube channel and have a life on the side. So um, thank you for that input. So I am trying to stay away from like making money and like finances, because that's actually not my field of expertise. Um, my field of expertise is really like personal development, because that's really where the hook is for me in my story of how a kid from Korea went from 200 to $200,000 in 6 years in the military. It's because of the personal development that I did within that 6 years, right? Like taking those Ty Lopez courses, Jim Cramer's courses, Investopedia, Jeremy for Financial Education, Meet Kevin's, Sean Cannell's, Graham Stephan's, you name it. Like I spent roughly, I think I calculated this yesterday. I spent roughly about $15,500, within the last 6 years into my own education out of my own pocket, right? Learning, what I needed to do to get to this point. And I'm still going to continue to spend a lot of money on courses, right? Whatever makes sense. So personal development is really where my strength lies. And so I needed to really kind of start pivoting towards that. How long have you been renting a room for? This room I've been renting for 9 months, but obviously before this, I was living on the ship within the USS Abraham Lincoln for like the last like 3 years, and then before that, I was living in the barracks. So everything that I did was for free and or as living as humbly as I possibly could. Um, Living on the ship is not the most moralizing thing. It's very demoralizing, but I mean that's what I had to do to save money. So, was that how you were able to save $1,000 for a long time with the BH difference? Um, when I lived on the ship, right? Like I had no expenses other than my cell phone, so I didn't have a car. So I would have to always walk to places, or have to rely on other people for rides, or have to Uber or Lyft, to places, call a taxi. So that's very inconvenient, but didn't have a car. Um, as a result, didn't have to have a car insurance. At the same time, I never really spent money on anything, no clothes. I used to shave my head all the time. Um, I'm living a little bit more of luxurious life now, being able to, get a haircut like I did today. Um, but no, even before I started getting BH, I was still saving at a minimum $1,000 each month. Um, And then now that I'm living here, I'm able to save like, $2,000-3,000 each month, depending on. Um, but even then, like when that money comes in, it just goes straight out to multiple different places, paying off my bills, or um, I'm still single, have no kids, with an occasional girlfriend. Like going out to restaurants is still fine. Like you can still do that. Is it possible to have two separate bank accounts while in the Navy? Yeah. I know all military personnel have to. They don't have to have Navy Fed. Like I have Bank of America, and that's the only bank that I've banked with. When thinking about your channel, Yoon, as far as content, I think of military advice, financial advice, investing advice, life advice. Lots of good, informative videos. Thank you for that. I'm trying to stay away from like military advice, military type of content. Um, it's just not my field of expertise. Like I can only share with people like my opinion, my experiences. But by no means, am I good enough in that sense to actually give like military career advices. I can only share like what kind of what makes sense to me, what I would do. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go more into like the lifestyle, personal development of a somebody who has been able to get to six figures within their time in the military. Sometimes it can be hard with women because I like being extra comfortable. I saw a raw video of one dude who had to have a well-built RV before his girl would accept his lifestyle, the lifestyle. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like you have to find a partner that can understand the life that you live. Um, and fortunately for me, my girlfriend is very accepting at the moment of the lifestyle that I'm living. But obviously, if my girlfriend was a type of person where, she's like a Louis Vuitton type of person, it's just not going to work out because I'm the complete opposite. So definitely have to find the person that, matches the, wavelength, the frequency, the understanding, and all that kind of stuff. Maybe videos on how to gain knowledge to self-improve then, for sure. If you would buy a car your first year. I mean, you could do whatever you want, man. At the end of the day, it's your money. Like, you don't even have to have a license, and you can still purchase a car. I've seen it happen, right? People do all sorts of things. Um, does it make the most financial sense? No, but I mean, in terms of like luxury, is it a luxury type of thing? Yeah, but you know, for true financial freedom, like down the road, like 10 years later, like 20 years later, buying a car right now, I don't know exactly what your age is, Stalin. Like, if your car was going to make you money, like if you were going to Uber or something, then maybe that justifies it. But other than that, just to have a car for the sake of, the convenience of having a car to go to places, and not really doing anything like to produce money, it doesn't make sense. And which you might be thinking like, oh yeah, I'll start, you know, doing Uber on the side while in the military. Um, that's hard to execute. Like ideas are always great. Don't get me wrong. Ideas are always great, but when it comes to actually doing it, actually putting in the work, it's always difficult. So when renting a room in a house, do you think it's a good money saving strategy when people are unmarried with no kids? Any limitation when renting a room in a house that you don't like? I mean, obviously you want to rent in a house that, the homeowner or the other roommates are cool. Um, because if they're not, obviously, then it's not worth actually living there. If you're like scared that they're gonna come into your room and steal stuff, um, you know, no means is that actually worth it. But I mean, if you can find like cool people and they're okay, they're like my roommates, the homeowner. The homeowner works for the government. The other roommate has a stable job. They're cool guys. So I mean that's fine. Like as long as like you can be left alone to do your own thing, like renting a room, by all means. No, I would use it for convenience to go from place A to B. I was planning to pick up Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and the closest is 30 minutes or so away. Yeah, I mean, Solon, see, that's one of the things that's hard, right? Like, you could be passionate about Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and it's 30-minute drive. I mean, depending on the place, I don't know exactly where you're going to be, but if you can get a bicycle and maybe it's an hour ride by a bicycle, then maybe that's the way to go. Um, but I mean, by all means though, like if Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is the thing that's going to give you like decompress, like the military is super stressful. And if you're justifying like, okay, I'm gonna buy a car because I'm really passionate about Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and it's gonna maintain my sanity for your mental health, then obviously by all means it's worth it. There's no amount of money that can really justify mental health and all that kind of stuff. So but right, if you can find a way around it, whether it's bicycle or find a friend that can also do it, or if financial freedom is a little bit more on the priority list, then you can always look at those alternatives. Manny. All right. I would use. Okay. Are there any other countries in the world you'd like to eventually visit? Any plans on getting married or having kids over the next 5 years after the Navy? Yeah. Um, I'm 28. Probably in the next couple of years, I'll have kids. Even then, I'll still probably have some sort of job, like a government job or, some type of big corporate job, just so I can continue to make more money. Just because I have like a lot of money or a lot of money, it's 200K is not a whole lot of money. Um, doesn't mean that I shouldn't get a job. So I'm going to continue to get a job, continue to funnel more money, continue to have other businesses like this, funnel as much more money into my investments, and be able to live off that in the future. Um, so yeah, I mean, eventually I'm going to get married, have kids, definitely within the next 5 years. Um, country wise, probably some of the European countries. Those would be probably cool to go to. I've been recently just like looking into Iceland, um, so I think that'd be pretty cool to go to Iceland. on a quick bathroom break. Just look at how I'm coming into my chair. Like I literally have to like, this is like a perfect fit. Like there's literally no space. There's the bed, there's the desk, and here's the chair, and that's it. Like literally no space, and I love it. I love the way that I live, because that's like, to me, that's what humility is actually all about. People say like so many times, like work hard, like be humble, and they don't work hard and they're not humble, and like that's some of the things that I see all the time, and that's the craziest thing. I like listening to positive music and drawing. Will help me maintain my mental health in the military. I've been on a military base before, slept in the barracks, and flown a plane. What are your thoughts of people, especially men, with waiting over age 50 to marry and have kids for the first time, even if they are financially stable? It seems to be a growing trend these days. If that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. I mean, there's no rule that says like, it's a society rule, right? Like you have to get married and have kids in your 20s or 30s. But that's just a made up society rule. There's no, it's not like a written, it's not like a law, right? That people over 50 can't get married. You can do whatever you want. So I would say don't worry too much about like what other people think. We passed the 1 hour mark, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me over an hour. Appreciate it. Like I said, just a casual hangout session, nothing crazy. You can work while we hang out, or you can ask questions. Feel free to do whatever you want. For me right now, I'm sometimes working right now whenever you see me off screen. I'm just taking care of some emails. But by all means, ask questions because I will get to it. Whenever I start taking care of these. Ever been to Egypt, Europe, or Australia? Nope. Plan on visit them the next year. I have to wait for COVID to keep calming down. Any interest in going to those countries? Yeah, of course. I would love to go. Um, but for me to go, like, uh, I gotta go with like my family, not just by myself. Because for me, at the end of the day, like family is the biggest thing. So it's not worth it to just to experience it by myself. We don't have a choice. Inflation is making everything expensive. When things were cheaper back in the 1960s, young men could leave their mama's house at 15, get a job at a factory, then have kids while young and still buy a house. But now all that is over. Yep. It's great. I've been to to England, Wales, France. Actually got to stand on the Eiffel Tower. Um, Lots more countries I want to visit in Europe. Beautiful world we live in. Mr. Michael Shimko, welcome back. Have you been? I've been well. Lost your Discord info. Yeah, I know exactly who you are. You get that? There is the Discord. How much longer do you have left in the Navy? A year and 9 months or 8 months. March 2023 is when I end, so I don't have too far, not too far off. Got to walk the Great Wall of China by myself with my tour guide. China isn't a communist as US says it is. I found China and Japan to be safe. Visited Mount Fuji too. Asia is nice. Yeah. I'm not too keen on Asian countries. Probably because I'm already like somewhat familiar with the culture. I'm more interested in like the European places to visit. Going to the fleet in 3 weeks, stationed in San Diego on an amphibious, currently in A school for SPACT. Any tips for me? Obviously, as a pack seaman, you're going to have a little bit of a difficult time. Aaron, what's up, man? Mr. Army YouTuber over here. Aaron, I think I haven't been in your channel in a bit, but pretty sure it's getting there. It's getting pretty big. Let me look at it. Yeah, 15K. Good job, dude. Your video views are getting a consistent, at a minimum, 1,000 views. Amazing. Nice. Any tips for me? Yeah, Sherpa. It's going to be obviously a little bit difficult for you because you're going as a pack seaman. Like I said, at the end of the day, like for me, like obviously financial success is the biggest thing for me. So, whatever it is for you, whether it's career-wise in the military or financial success, spend a lot of time focusing on that because you are going to be extremely stressed and unhappy, and your mental health is going to be, you know, degraded over time. So always have something like that you're focusing on working towards every single day, because the last place you want to be is, you know, leave the military the way you came in. If you came in with nothing without really knowing a whole lot, you don't want to leave the military with nothing and not knowing a whole lot. So that's the worst case scenario where you don't want to be in. That unfortunately, I see a good amount of people kind of end up in that situation. So really, the biggest thing, like if you see my YouTube content, like you see like me like criticizing the military or complaining about the military stuff, like all that, like Sherpa, like there's going to be stresses like that, but just internalize it and let it motivate you to get to where you want to go. Um, so just remember that, like you're going to be stressed, internalize it and let it motivate you for your success. Like that's the biggest thing. Do you have any other relatives in the Navy or military? My brother used to be in the Army National Guards, but he's finished his time. My cousin used to be in the Air Force Reserves, but he also finished and finished his time. Traveling, when it comes to economic freedom, China is a bit more open, but when it comes to domestic politics, it's very much communist. Any plans to travel with the girlfriend in the future to South Korea? Yeah, we'll see, how that looks like or if that happens, but yeah, for sure. Figured out it would be tough, but I'm up for the challenge. It's gonna be a challenge for sure. Cameron. And if you guys are rolling in, welcome to the Sunday chill hangout session. No particular topic, just hang out, work while you're on this live, like I am right now, or ask any questions that you might have. I'm gonna try to do this like once a week where I have a hangout session. I think that's going to be beneficial to the community. And so if there is anything that I can do to help you guys build a better like community wise like mastermind with me here to help the community better, just let me know. Video recommendations or content ideas, anything like that, if you leave it in the comment section, I would greatly appreciate it. Email. Have you been to Thailand or Malaysia? Mike, Michael, how's your goal going? Because I know if I recall our conversation a while back, I think you were trying to get to like a couple hundred K. Forgot exactly the amount. Whether was it like 300K, 600K, 700K? I forgot the exact amount, but how's that going? Thanks for the tips. Figured it out. Challenge. Is there anything the Navy could do to convince you to stay in for at least 20 years? If the Navy can guarantee me to stay at the shore facility that I am in, whether it's Maryland or whatever, um, you know, uh, in like this facility, like on land for the next remaining on my contract, yeah, definitely gonna I'll definitely do 20 years. But to go to a ship and go to all these different places and travel around, move around, not worth it. What do you think about ChargePoint stocks? I heard has a lot of potential for long-term growth. I'm sure there's good ones out there, but it's not my field of expertise or my interest, so I pass. Can you text while you're on the fleet? So trice, do you mean like when you're out at sea? If you're out at sea, obviously you're not going to have a lot of reception, but if you have internet on your computer, you can still go to like Facebook or like different websites to text, and that can be you can text that way. Aaron, what's the next video gonna be, bro? So I recently enrolled in a $3,000 Think Media Sean Cannell's coaching program with YouTube, how to build YouTube business, scale it up. So I've been going through that content, going through the coaching with them, figured out exactly what I needed to do. And so right now, what makes the most sense to me, because and to piggyback of dualist inquiries, my average day kind of looks like. So what makes the most sense to me is do like what Gary Vee does, which is document kind of his life. Because how my day kind of looks is I wake up at 6 o'clock, go to work at 7 o'clock in the Navy, right? And do that until 3 p.m., come home at 4 p.m., and then from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m., I work my sales business. I'm a salesman. People can hire me, sell their products for them. Right now, I'm partnered up with Jeremy from Financial Education, working with his sales team. And so do that until 11 at night, and maybe at 11:30 or 12 o'clock at midnight is kind of when I will go to sleep. So yeah, I get on any typical night, I only get about like 5 to 6 hours of sleep, and then I work like 18 hours a day, almost. Um, and that's the life. And so that's going to be the content, right? Like on a weekly basis, just vlog my day, like how that kind of looks, what it actually looks like to invest in the stock market, to have success in the stock market, what it actually looks like to be in the Navy, to build a business online and all that kind of stuff, and do YouTube, and how a life of a like an entrepreneur in the military kind of looks. So that's kind of going to be the content strategy, and yeah, I'm excited. That course really helped me out a lot. And then soon I'll just be taking like Meet Kevin's course, because I have access to that as well. So I watched a video of yours a while ago where you said you were over 200 pounds. What's your average height now? I'm 6 foot, 220 pounds. It's one thing I like about milk. It helps to stay healthy and in shape. What's my average day look like? What does your average day look like? I made a couple days ago. Yeah, quite hardworking guy. I would like to think so. How how long do you have to go without internet when living in the ship, and do you only get internet when you're living in the barracks or off base? Um, Obviously, when you're out at sea, the only type of internet access you have is um, on the ship's computer, the ship's network, and even then, it's limited to actually what you could do. Right? Obviously, you can't go to like a bunch of different websites. You can only use like the typical like the news stations. For the most part, military functions. So you're not gonna have like a good internet access. Like you can't just go on YouTube unless they allow it. But for the most part, you're not going to be able to go on YouTube. Um, but I mean, that could range. Like if you're out at sea for a couple months, obviously you're not going to have access to internet for a couple months. Um, when you're in the barracks, I mean, there's always that local provider um, that you can always use, or if you have like a cell phone plan and you can, you know, hotspot your Wi-Fi, you can also do that. What kind of people the Navy is not for? Uh, for the most part, the military is for everybody, right? It's like if I can put it into an analogy, it's like the Navy, the system as a whole is like a blacksmith, right? And the raw material are the people coming into the military, the sailors, the soldiers, the guardians, etc. The military, right? It's very stressful, like the blacksmith, right? They're going to hammer you, they're going to put you on fire, mold you into the weapon that the military wants you to be. Um, you know, but there's always people along the way that it's just along the way they just mentally can't take it and they break off and they hurt themselves. People who maybe they're not emotionally stable when they first came in, when they're in a stressful environment, it's going to amplify it and make it even worse, because the military is not just like, it's not like a pill where you just kind of consume it and all your problems go away. No, your problems get amplified when you're in the military because it's so difficult, it's so stressing. um, and so I mean, if you have, in my personal opinion, if you have a lot of like mental issues, you know, depression or health issues or anything like that, I would kind of be a little bit more wary of it. But for the most part, like anybody could join. It's just, are you medically qualified? Um, you know, do you have a good enough reason to join? Because, obviously along the way, a lot of people quit or a lot of people drop out. So you have to have a strong enough desire to actually go through with it. So, Kennard, what's up? I watched your videos a long time ago, 3 years. It's nice to see you doing well. Thank you for being with me for 3 years. Do you think the Navy gave you strong work ethic, you? It didn't give me the strong work ethic because it's always been there. But I will say it's along that lines, right? Like I've always had that work ethic, that desire, but it gave me perspective, right? Meaning, before I joined the military, right, I was working a full-time job, going to school, and all that kind of stuff, and my full-time job was 40 hours a week. I would go to school for 20 hours and stuff, and so I thought like, oh man, like that's a lot. Right? Like And if my job, like working at Hollister, Abercrombie and Fitch, folding clothes, anything over 40 hours a week, man, like I'm working a lot. But in the military, like your job is working like 100 hours a week when you're deployed, right? And so that gave me perspective to understand, like, okay, if I can work 40 hours a week in the civilian world and I can work 100 hours a week in the military, I can do 40 hours a week still within the military and work 60 hours a week, developing a business, learning how to invest in the stock market, investing into myself, growing. And so it taught me perspective. That's the biggest thing. Do you still got to do PT and formation daily when you're living off the ship? How often does the Navy do a PT test? Physical training test or physical fitness test is done like twice a year, once every 6 months. And it depends from place to place. Some places do it like training wise, some places do it a lot more than others. It just all depends. Um, Military is like high school, but you get paid and under a lot of pressure, from what some have told me. So I understand what people say when it comes to like the military is like high school, but I also disagree with that because I've heard that too. Um, Basically, when people say the military is like high school, it means like drama, like a lot of drama, like, you know, this girl, I was going out with this girl, but now she's dating somebody else, and now there's beef between me and that guy, and there's, this weird vibe between me and the girl. Like, there's people that who are 18 and 19, 20 that come into the military. This is their college years, and they want to live their college life within the military. And that's absolutely not the mentality that you should have. But do people live that kind of life? Absolutely, right? People come in, drink, and live that military, high school, college type of life. But at the end of the day, like military is like a professional thing. Like it's like a professional job. I've always treated it as such, and as such, as a result, I've gotten, good results from it. But yeah, yeah, you want to be able to separate that kind of mentality because there's a lot of like, discrepancies. Like just like any corporate job, there's always like issues here and there. But for example, for the most part, specifically when it comes to like high school drama stuff, that's this type of mentality that people have. How often do you get the mill? How often do I get leisure time? Um, when you're on the ship, you work from 7 to probably about 4 o'clock, or if you're out at sea, maybe from 7 to 7 for 12 hours, or 13 or 14 hours, depending on the day. So you may have like a couple of hours of free time when you're in the Navy. So right now, I'm at a shore facility. I'm not on a ship anymore. So I just work a typical 40-hour work week. Michael, I did buy Graham Stephan's course on building YouTube channels. I have a discount code if you want. Michael, I'm good for now because I spent $3,000 to buy Sean Cannell's YouTube business building course, and I've been going through that. So thank you though. It's a lot of content that I still have to go through with the coaching material and all that. And I also have access to Meet Kevin's course too, so I gotta go through that as well. I heard from some vets that some people intentionally will get neutral discharge from the military by becoming overweight. Is there any truth to it? You can't get discharged for being overweight anymore. It used to be the case a couple years back, where if you failed like your physical fitness test twice, they instantly kick you out. Used to be 3 times and they'll kick you out, but now it's like twice and they kick you out. But then a lot of people took advantage of that and purposely got themselves kicked out. And the military realized like, oh my gosh, like we're losing way too many people left and right. and so they gotta do away with that. So that's not a thing anymore. Bully the blind girl. Hey Yoon, big fan. Leave for BMT soon and plan to break up my boyfriend. What are your thoughts on dating in basic training? You're not going to be able to um, sure you can like mingle with guys here and there, but for the most part, it's going to be like watched like a hawk, um, and it's not going to be possible when you're in basic training. Um, in A school, you have a lot more freedom. You could definitely have a boyfriend girlfriend type of relationship then. When you're out in the fleet, in the big navy, definitely you can be in all sorts of relationships that you want. But when you're in boot camp, it's not going to be possible. How do you manage your work life equation? Um, Honestly, my life is my work, man. Like I love the lifestyle that I live right now. Making YouTube videos, building businesses, investing in the stock market, being in the military. Um, so no real complaints there. Um, so yeah, like cause for me, like I enjoy what I'm doing, like building businesses, making money, putting that work in. Um, so yeah, there's like breaks that I'll take, like I'm gonna go for like a long walk or something. But yeah, that's really it. All right, guys. Probably in the next 8 minutes here, I'll probably grab some dinner. So I'll probably be closing out here in the next 8 minutes. So if you have any questions, right, leave it in the comment section. Um, and like I said, I'm planning to do this hangout session every week. It's going to be a little bit difficult, like this upcoming weekend, because I'm moving and there's a lot of things that I got to work out. But yeah, I'm going to be doing this like hangout session, whether it's like a 1 hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours, probably on the weekends. Um, I would love to see if you guys can put like what days you guys are most like optimally watching my videos or consuming some type of like YouTube content. Whether it's like in the weekday in the mornings, the afternoons, or in the evenings or in the weekends. If I could have that kind of information from you guys, some feedback, if you guys could let me know, that'd be great. How do you manage? Okay. Have you ever thought about becoming a recruiter? I have. They work insane amount of hours. It's not worth it for me to put myself in that kind of situation. When in Navy seaport, does the Navy actually tell sailors not to go into known dangerous areas or red light districts? Yeah, that is a thing. Or do they, or if they do and are caught, can they be disciplined and sent to the brig? Yeah, I mean they can. There's always red light districts or places where you're going to get briefed. Before you land anywhere, they're going to tell you where not to go, where to go, what's dangerous, what's the most commonly known like crime or whatever for tourists. Um, to my understanding, do some people like still do it? Yeah. Um, they've never been caught, but obviously it's not something that you really want to do because the worst case scenario is, let's say you're on like a 10-month deployment and then 3 months in you get caught doing something bad and illegal, then the other 7 months of your deployment going to other countries is just going to be ruined because you're going to have curfew like at like 3 p.m. In the afternoon type of curfew, and then boom, like it's done. Because they always have like people could patrol those type of areas, and look for sailors, and you stand out. Like obviously military people, when they're in a foreign country, they stand out like a sore thumb. At the same time, like when you're working in a place with limited like a couple thousands of people and you see them every single day, like people recognize you, right? So um, it's not the place that you want to be in. How do you keep yourself charged up? Um, just the motivation of like one day, like the work that I'm doing now, the work that I'm putting in now, uh, is going to pay off, right? I'm going to become a millionaire in the next couple of years. I'm going to become a deca millionaire in the next couple of, maybe about 15 years or so, or 20 years, or 25 years. I am going to become a deca millionaire, right? And all that is eventually for my family, right? To have a good life for my parents, for my kids, for my wife. Um, that's like that perspective is what continues to drive me higher and higher. At the same time, my biggest goal is to help as much people along the way as I possibly can, right? For you guys, um, because for sure, like the closer you get to me, like the closer you get to like people who have like six figures, seven figures, the more transformations that you go under. Because like the people that I've been able to teach very directly, like how to invest in the stock market, like they were able to scale to six figures, right? And I'm hanging out with people, I'm working with people, business partnership wise, with people with a minimum of six figures in the market, right, or net worth. The people that I very closely associate myself with, just by default, not because I like purposely chose that, just by default, they're very financially successful, right? So like success attracts success. Like so, the more you consume my content, the more closer you can get to me. The more in terms of wealth you're going to get, because at the end of the day, like what you want to start adopting is the way I think, the way I view about money, kind of my kind of lifestyle is understanding it, and being able to incorporate that into your life. So yeah, I mean, if for me to see like a lot of people get a lot of benefit and financial success through my content, and there's been a lot of people that stopped by and said, "Yoon, you helped me get to 100K, in a couple of years." That means the world to me, because my goal is to help as much people as possible to understand how to get to $100,000 within their 5 years, 6 years in the military. So yeah, those are the things that are cool to see. Are you moving to another room in another house or back to the ship? Yeah, I'm getting on the government housing soon. So I'll be moving this week. Do you invest in crypto? Yeah, I have three positions: BTC, and Chainlink, and then GRT. Yeah, right. How to get rid of various distraction and short-term pleasures? Is that something that comes with maturity? Duelist, what I've found that works for me, and I understand exactly what you are talking about, because like, for example, like video games, like if I play like League of Legends, like I could play that for all day, like all day long. But what works for me is to have somebody that I'm accountable to, right? So for example, um, I'm all about courses, right? I'll buy like $1,000 course, $3,000 course, $7,500 course all day long, because when I spend that kind of money, it puts a lot of pressure on me to actually take the time to consume that level of stuff, that level of material, and actually implement it and actually do it. And so when it comes to like, for example, like my business, my sales job, I get on phone calls a lot with clients, and so like my schedules Monday through Friday are booked. Like I literally have no time for myself. So me being held accountable to somebody else has worked for me. And that's probably it's probably along the lines of what could work for you, is to, actually spend the money. And for example, like if you want to understand how to be more productive or whatever like that, like spend like a couple $100 or $1,000 into a productivity course, right? And spend as much time as you need to actually get the value that you need from that course. Because yeah, that's what worked for me to get out of that kind of short-term distractions and slumps, into a very focused mindset. Because, like I said, like I'm accountable for the Navy, right, to be on time and do my job. At the same time, after work, I'm accountable to my team to be there, perform, make sales, make the calls, take the calls, and then at the same time, I'm accountable to you guys because I gotta make YouTube videos. And at the same time, I'm buying courses, investing into investment courses. I gotta consume it, and I gotta actually go through it. And they gave me homework for the coaching program. I gotta go through the homework to get the best out of the coaching sessions, to learn how to invest properly. And so, yeah, that's just kind of how I got out of that, if that makes sense. Are you ever afraid that once you find a loving wife, she divorces you and steal half your money? I mean, if that's the case, then I misjudged, then it's my fault. If a sailor doesn't get back on a ship or port before the ship leaves, are they literally stuck in their country? Yeah. Would they have to pay out of pocket or to airfare, get out of that place? I think, I'm not too sure if they have to pay out of pocket. You could, but for example, how that would work is, let's say I'm in Europe, and then somebody got left behind for whatever reason. The ship's gonna leave, right? Regardless, depending on the size of the ship's gonna leave. For example, an aircraft carrier, if one person gets left behind because they overslept at a hotel, the ship's gonna leave regardless. I mean, there's plenty of time in between that there's going to be people, like there's curfew, right? Like the night before all the sailors are supposed to come, there's like 12-hour time frame where everybody has to be in the ship. And you have to be very thoroughly detailed as to where you're going to go, where you're going to sleep. But if for whatever reason, worst case scenario, you get left behind, there's always people staying back to do other work. They're going to find you. They're going to take you to the nearest airport, get to whatever supply facility is the next area. So, for example, if the aircraft carrier is going to the Middle East area, right, from Europe, they're going to fly out to Bahrain, and then you're going to be in Bahrain, and eventually you're just going to get a helicopter ride back to the ship. From there, obviously you're going to get in trouble, and then you're not going to be really able to enjoy overseas vacations or overseas leaves anytime soon. For the government housing, will BAH pay for it? For the most part, it will, but there are some cases where, like for example, for me, I have to pay a little bit more out of pocket because it's a little bit more expensive. What's the big difference between shore duty and sea duty, other than not living on the ship? Are there more freedoms and more relaxed rules? That's some shore locations, or shore stations. It depends. Like if I'm a RDC, like in boot camp, there's the RDC. That's considered a shore command, and obviously they work like 60 to 70 to 80 hours a week. And that's not a very relaxed shore command. It's very beneficial for your career, right? Because as you advance in the military, right, you want to build up your resume, right? I worked on the ship. I worked on recruiting future sailors. I worked on pushing people from boot camp. I worked on a very important military facility, right? It's all those are good resume builders. But there are also very relaxed places like I am, that are like career killers, right? Like, so for example, like for me, I'm working like 40 hours a week in, just like a very relaxed aviation command. I'm just tracking parts. My job isn't that important. It's important, but it's not that important. Um, you know, so there are differences in terms of the level of freedom, the level of work that you have to do. But at the same time, like I said, it's all about like building up your resume. So yeah. I joined the military thinking I could easily save money because of minimal expenses. You've influenced me, but I'm having a really hard time managing it. Active duty. This year, is that this year? I mean, I understand, man. Like I said, like when I joined, like I was an E1, getting like paid like $1,400 something each month. Like you have to like live humbly as possible, like humble as possible, right? Like for example, like me, I mean, this room, like I showed these guys earlier, um, I'm renting a room right now, $600. I used to sleep on an air mattress for 9 months, but when I hit 200K, I upgraded and bought myself a bed. But yeah, like I said, like you have to live humble. Like you have to like not have a car, walk to places, just have the bare minimum, bum off Wi-Fi. Like whenever you go to different restaurants, like you ask them like, hey, what's your Wi-Fi code? Like so I can use some Wi-Fi while I'm here. Or you go to Starbucks, walk to Starbucks to use the Wi-Fi. Like uh, it's it's the true definition of living humble to try and save like $1,000 or $2 each month. um, that's yeah, it's not easy. But if you can figure it out, and you can be consistent long enough, it's gonna work out extremely well. What were the best investments you made? In myself, I spent over the years probably about $15,000, $15,500 into my own education out of my own pocket, of the money that I made from the military. Um, so that's what's got me to transform from $200 when I joined 6 years ago to 200K that I'm at now. Will you get any severance pay or retirement money when you leave the Navy? Nope. Blind girl, guys, learning ways to get around the divorce trap. My plan is to wait until I get old, achieve my goals. If I get divorced and I have starvation, I'd have lived life. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me today on this Sunday for 2 hours. Some of you guys have been with me from almost the very beginning, so appreciate that. And yeah, like I said, if you guys have any recommendations for me, leave it in the comment section down below. I would love to see it, because I am coming back on YouTube, and I'm going to come back swinging here pretty shortly. So any type of recommendations that you have or anything that you would like to see in terms of content would help me out greatly. Like I said, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a fine Navy day. See ya.